Will Celtic have a new manager? Hip hip hooray, Ange Postecoglou.
And it gives me enormous pleasure to welcome Ange.
My goal is to have this club playing football that's going to excite every one of you, and we're going to be successful.
Kyogo's amazing. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's our best striker, he's our best defender. He was all over the pitch.
No, it was a huge shock. I absolutely did not see that coming.
There's always two sides to these stories, isn't there, guys?
We've won the Premier Sports Cup final by 2-1.
I'm surprised you never opened with Konnichiwa, Hamish.
That absolute euphoria of that goal going in. It was incredible.
I don't even know where to start with that, but the facts that I'm sure you're well aware of are that Celtic have just beaten Rangers by 3-0.
So I'm just looking at the upcoming schedule. I know we've got to play the top 6 teams, but this is ours to lose now, surely.
Do I look smug right now? Hopefully I look really smug right now.
Champions again, champions again, champions again, ole ole.
The boys did the job on the weekend and scored the goals, particularly that one late on, which obviously after what we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks, and I remember the last time I talked to you, I talked about that Livingston game, didn't I? I told you that would be one of the real worries for me, that game going back there again with that pitch and the surface. Obviously, there's been a few other hiccups along the way, but it was just great for them to get back on track. I think the international break the last time came round, I would say probably at the wrong time for the club. I think probably this time it's probably came at the right time.
Ange, I guess, is where we should probably start. It's only 4 months since we last spoke. It seems like so much has happened in that time. What have you made of Ange's start to life at Celtic?
I'd imagine hearing Aussies like me tell you guys, I told you so, must be at some level infuriating. But it's turned out kind of exactly how we thought it would. Maybe with the exception of I didn't think people would jump on board with him as quickly as they did. There was obviously that initial period with, was it a couple of 6-0s and some other good results at home and some good football. I think everyone was starting to realise, okay, you know, this guy actually might have an idea about football and how to coach a team. And then has come the dip in the roller coaster, you know. And hopefully we're past that period with that win over Aberdeen, which wasn't pretty, but it was a win and that's what was needed. It's just all par for the course in the first period of Ange Postecoglou coaching a football team. There comes a point in everywhere that Ange has gone where the players, you know, they go along with it. And at some point there's usually, you know, a miracle result, a late winner, some sort of big event or moment where they stick to the style, even if the logical part of their brain will tell them this isn't getting us anywhere. And it yields something. It yields a result. And that becomes like a moment of realization where the whole group sees that if we do what the boss says, if we do what Ange says, the dividends are actually going to come. He's been telling us all along, and here's our first example.
So without further ado, here are 5 players from the J-League who could make it at Celtic. His name is Dazen Maeda, and he's the top scorer in the J-League at the moment with 17 goals and 3 assists. Perhaps Ryo Hatate could be that guy coming over from Japan. Happy Friday, everyone. Celtic make their long-awaited return back to Cinch Premiership action tomorrow. It's not going to be an easy game, though. Opposite of that, a hard game, I suppose. We're away to high-flying Motherwell, a team who have made a better start to the season than us. Wouldn't really be hard, though, would it?
Hi guys, and welcome back to 67 Hail Hail. You find us just 5 minutes after Celtic 2, Motherwell 0 at Fir Park. We closed the gap to 4 points, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm joined by John and a fellow McGinley again. It's good to finally talk about a win for a change with me and you on these channels, eh?
Trust the process, Ryan. Trust the process. This is a big day for Celtic. Obviously, you know, I thought the result itself and the performance was pretty accomplished and comfortable. But the fact that kind of Rangers screwed up at the end of their game, letting an equaliser, and I heard they actually probably could have lost that game at the death. Celtic closing the gap to 4 points. Can't really ask for more from a Saturday afternoon. Now, Ryan, it wouldn't be a show on 67 Hail Hail without Hamish making some sort of bold prediction that can be allowed to be mocked in the comments underneath. So here we go, he's fired in the chat. He's got something to say after today's performance. I'm going to show it on screen. Hamish Carton says we're going to win the league.
I have finally gotten over Eddie Howe. The Eddie Howe mugs have been binned, maybe not, but I'm definitely committing to Ange now. The Ange mugs have been purchased. That's a design right there, absolutely cracking. That'll probably arrive in time for pre-season next year. Hopefully those words still make a bit of sense. Now we are finding out all about Ferencvaros on today's video.
Their manager, Sergei Rebrov, who was basically a hero at that club, has now left. And I say he was a hero because taking Ferencvaros to the Champions League was a huge feat for the club. First time they've been there since mid-90s.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel on a wonderful afternoon. Emphasis on the word afternoon. Celtic have beaten Ferencvaros 2-0. I actually had to ask Ryan, who's with me, what the score was, because it felt like a lot more than that. Yeah, Ryan, your thoughts on a really good afternoon. By the way, everyone, let us know if you can hear us. I should point that out. We've had a couple of technical issues, so...
Absolutely delighted. Ange ball's in full flow, I would say. 2-0 could have been 5 or 6 easily. I mean, you look at the penalty, you look at the chance for Jota, other chances in the game as well. Absolutely delighted with the way that we're playing just now. We seem to have a real identity, especially in midfield, defence, attack, everywhere really. Really delighted with the way that this team's going, and I think something special's happening at Celtic for sure.
What was the pleasing bits then? I mean, there was so many, but what sprung out to you from that performance?
Jota, basically Jota. The guy is absolutely phenomenal. If we have got to be signing this guy permanently.
Second half, however many minutes were on the clock when we scored that goal. I don't know if you'll see many better goals in Europe this week in terms of it starts in our own corner. It's Jota, and rather than just hoofing it long, he tries to play football. Montgomery, who I thought had a really difficult time up until that point, did brilliantly, got the 1-2, and then Jota just plays one of the most amazing passes I've ever seen at Celtic Park. If you rewatch it, it's actually kind of sliced. It kind of starts inside and works its way out. The movement from Kyogo's incredible. Kyogo's first touch is immaculate, and the finish is a simple one. He makes it look easy.
It's just a goal drenched in quality, isn't it? From the very get go. Jota just cuts through that defence with just one pass. It's one of those passes that if Kevin De Bruyne makes that, then everybody's talking about it. If he's to do that, then the whole footballing world will go mental.
St Johnstone tomorrow at Celtic Park. As I said earlier in the video, a meeting of the two most successful teams in Scottish football over the last number of years.
Celtic 2, St Johnstone 0. 3 2-0 wins in a row for Ange Postecoglou's Boys. GG and JJ doing the business today. I found that one out myself, lads. Pretty pleased when I noticed that. Ewan, immediate thoughts on today?
Really good, really comfortable. I thought defensively, I didn't think they threw anything particularly dangerous at us. I think we managed to keep them nullified throughout most of the game. I think the defence is coming together in a really promising way, and we took advantage of some mistakes. And sometimes that's all you need to do in Scottish Premiership. It's just about taking advantage of opportunities when they come and getting through the game comfortably. So yeah, dead happy.
Yeah, I think Carter-Vickers has been brought in at the right time as well.
Definitely.
It's been an excellent signing, and I would say he's probably brought out the best in Starfelt too. It's a wee bit harsh though, because I thought Stephen Welsh was performing okay as well this season. Don't think he really didn't do too much wrong, but at Celtic it's not a case of you can just be okay and you just go to be comfortable with that. We do have to always continually improve and upgrade. And Cameron Carter-Vickers is no doubt an upgrade on Welsh.
Well, it's looking a bit better, the league table, but I just think Celtic just need to keep winning. We've had 3 wins now back for the international break, 3 clean sheets, all 2-0 victories. I just think the great thing for everyone hopefully is that there's so much more to come from this team. I just think we're motoring nicely, but we've already dished out a couple of 6-0s and a 5-0 I think this season, but we are going to hit a team for a lot of goals this season when we're fully in our groove. It might not happen over the winter months, we might have to wait till the spring, but I think it's looking good, lads.
It feels like something special is building here with this Celtic team, and when it clicks it's going to be spectacular. Is that the way you feel about it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I've said it, even there is going to be bumps in the road along the way, and even when we've had the little bumps so far, I still see so much potential in this team. I see the boys working every day. I see what the manager's trying to do, and I can sense a real togetherness. I think the Aberdeen away victory as well, I think that really helped us in terms of a mentality setting of going away from home, so many young players for different cultures all coming together on that day, and I think that was a real big step for us. And I think since then I can sort of sense a mentality change where the boys are they're really going to motor now. I think
we do have a game to talk about tomorrow night, David, and it's a pretty big game. It's Hibernian versus Celtic. Look at the smiles on those faces. What a wonderful night, guys. Hibernian 1, Celtic 3, a first half blitz from Ange's men. Goals from Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Kyogo had us 3-0 up. And although we kind of had a bit of a fight back from Hibs in the second half, what a brilliant, brilliant night, lads. I just want to reiterate that right now. Everyone watching this, are you having a good night as well? I hope you are. John McGinley, take it away.
Hello, how's it going? I'm delighted after that tonight. I thought, going into this game, I wasn't really sure what to expect from this match. Obviously, there was a lot of chat about the 7 games that Celtic had failed to win on the league at Easter Road over the last few years. So I was delighted to see Ange pretty much blow away Hibs in half an hour and kind of dismantle that theory, that context, all that baggage heading into the game. And then obviously results for us going elsewhere, not just Rangers at Ibrox, but Hearts dropping points, Dundee United dropping points. It's one of those nights that you love. It's one of those, when all the games are being played together, it's one of those nights that you savour.
To the extent where we can go top of the league if we beat Livingston at home on Saturday. Right, it's the day after the night before. Another really impressive away victory for Celtic. Our away troubles seem like a distant memory. We're going to be chatting about all of that with Jackie and Ewan. Was that first half the best we've played this season under Ange, Jackie?
I think it's definitely up there, yeah. I mean, the chances created, the movement. Again, I keep talking about energy, but I think that's the overriding thing there. The fitness levels and energy that the players have. And the freedom that they're creating, it's causing havoc. You've seen that with not just the chances they created, and I think that's where Hibs struggled, their movement in between each other, and Rogic coming through and slipping it through as well, taking 2 or 3 players at the game. But no, I thought it was exciting football, and a place that we've struggled for, even with a dominant sides, we've struggled to win there. So we've got a good bit of momentum just now.
Feels like the support are kind of really level-headed at the moment, even though we've gone in this run. I think it's 5 wins in a row now. There's some fans are speaking about January the 2nd and wanting to do the business against Rangers. But I think overall the Celtic fans realise that right now the only game that matters is Livingston. But there's only really one place to start, and it's with the reports that Police Scotland Assistant Chief Constable Bernard Higgins could be in line for a senior security role at Celtic. But they've got a fight on their hands if a statement that went out today is anything to go by. It was released on the North Curve's Twitter page, but it was a joint statement. It was signed by the Celtic Trust, the Green Brigade, the Boys, Celtic Shared and the North Curve. But some more positive news. Celtic sent out an email yesterday to fan media, including 67 Hail Hail, with details for new plans that will aim to improve the access for fan media outlets.
A frustrating afternoon. Celtic had a chance to obviously go top of the table today. That hasn't happened. A missed opportunity at home to Livingston. It seems like we've had quite a few 0-0 draws at home to Livingston over the years. Today it was certainly very frustrating, obviously the way it ended as well. Will we just start at the end? Is that the best place to come? I've been sent a bit of an update. from John McGinley on the channel. He gave me an update on what Ange had to say with regards to the penalty missed by GG at the end of the match. He says that Ange basically owned up and said it was his decision to have Giakoumakis take the penalties. He made that decision a couple of games ago, and GG wasn't on the pitch when Juranovic took his recent penalties. I was screaming at the time for Juranovic to take the penalty. What do you think when you hear those comments that GG was the taker? Can we have any arguments?
I don't know. There's a strong sense, I would say, that Ange Postecoglou's kind of protecting his man there, because it's his. Well, obviously Juranovic is his signing too, but Giakoumakis has obviously had all sorts of problems since coming to the club. Didn't really have a pre-season. Had a couple of false starts. So to say, he was rubbish today, he missed the penalty, I don't think he's going to do that. So I think he's backing his man there. To be honest, I don't 100% buy it. I think Juranovic, he's scored 2 penalties out of 2, so I don't understand why you wouldn't go with a guy in form, to be honest. And I'm sure, definitely the folk around me thought the same.
Yeah, as I say, I was saying it not just after the penalty, but before the penalty as well. It's really frustrating because I think you've never get any guarantees with penalties, but you just know Juranovic would have slotted that, don't we? We just know Juranovic would have put that in the back of the net. They had to make it nervy at the end, didn't they? My God, it was going so well until the last few minutes, and then the last few minutes seemed like a few hours. What a night, John. Amazing.
Yeah.
An away win for Celtic in Europe.
I wasn't that nervous at the end, Hamish. I know that it was like one of those, Celtic are going to throw away things, but even though they scored that late goal, which was an exceptional goal from them, I always felt Celtic were pretty much in control of that, even towards the end. Celtic played out after they got the late goal and held the ball well in their half, so wasn't too concerned. Fantastic night, 6 points off that mob in the group stage is outstanding.
I think we were all agreed that a point would even have been quite an acceptable result tonight. So to take 3 points from tonight's game, and obviously 3 2 weeks ago, is a real good marker of this Celtic team improving. This is how it looks. Certainly better than it did a couple of match days ago. Now, we're still up against it, if we're honest. Even if, God forbid, we drop points against Dundee tomorrow, on the whole, you would look at this chunk of fixtures since the last international break as being generally positive. But if we took the 3 points tomorrow, you could for sure say that at the very least we have closed the gap at the top of the table since the last international break, and of course 1 or 2 Europa League games, and secured third place in the group at the very least. It would be very successful, with the only real black mark being those drop points at home to Livingston. Hi there everyone, we are back on 67. Hail after Celtic's 4th consecutive victory away from home in the league. Dundee 2, Celtic 4. It's really promising to see these guys not just doing the pretty bits of football and beating players and committing players, but actually having the end product as well.
Yeah, it's good to see, definitely. And as well, it's when you look at Jota, where he's played, where he's came from, the culture coming into Scottish football, it's not an easy thing to do, just to come in and boss it like he has. It shows that he's such a talented player. And I have got to say to the people who watch this channel, you said after remember the Ross County game, I was a little bit critical of, I think you and Ewan were both saying how you were blown away by his debut. I thought, stick him into these games away up at Dens Park, at Livingston, and the real bread and butter games for us. Let's see how he does then, and I'll judge him. So I have judged him now on the games and the higher games for us in Europe. He's excelled, and he has shut me up, which is
a difficult thing to do.
Every Celtic player should be looking to shut a guy like me up, and he really has. He's been fantastic for us.
Right, we're going to leave it there in terms of the match. One thing we wanted to touch on afterwards was the stop-start nature of the start to the match. Now, Stevie's a bit ignorant to this situation because he was running late, I think due to COP26, which is taking place in Glasgow, where we're recording. Very busy at the moment. So you were late today.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, so it was enough to miss a
lifetime for some fans, it would seem.
It was enough to miss the avalanche of tennis balls launched onto the pitch, I think about 90 seconds into the match. It was a protest from the Celtic fans. If you're wondering what the relevance of the tennis balls was, it was to do with, as I say, a protest that Bernard Higgins, who Celtic I think are still reportedly close to appointing in a high-profile security role at the club. He's a former
I think ACC at Police Scotland. The reason for the tennis balls, there was a banner held up today with the words "Fans or Higgins, the ball's in your court, Nicholson." Abad has played 1,507 minutes for Celtic. That's just under 17 games. He's got 7 goals and 5 assists. That's a goal involvement every 126 minutes. Kyogo's played 1,260 minutes, that's about 14 games. He's got 13 goals and 3 assists, that's a goal involvement every 79 minutes. And Jota's played 1,219 minutes, again just under 14 games, that's 6 goals and 6 assists, which is a goal involvement every 101 minutes.
Hey, Hamish.
The vast majority of signings you've made in the summer have really already made an impact at the club. But I wanted to ask you about 3 who maybe haven't played as much. The 2 boys from Sheffield Wednesday, Liam Shaw, Asazi Urigidi, and also James McCarthy. How have they settled into life at the club, and could we see loan deals possibly for Shaw and Urigidi in January?
Yeah, look, I am pleased with sort of the majority how they've settled in so far. It's been to be fair to all the players, the new ones. And even some of the existing ones, it's been a bit of a baptism of fire for them, because we've just thrown them in and knowing that they're going to be measured straight away against, as I've just spoken about, past teams, past players.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel on what is a really sad night for Celtic and just general football fans everywhere. Celtic legend Bertie Auld has died at the age of 83.
I pinch myself sometimes because I'll bump into these guys and you kind of realise again what a privileged position we're in. So it's not just for the youth players, it's for every person, every player that comes, every staff member that comes through here. That when you walk into a club like Celtic, irrespective of your position, you kind of feel, you're walking a little bit taller, and you feel like you're a little bit stronger, and particularly in a position like mine. But that doesn't come from what I bring to it. That comes from the fact that I'm come into it, standing on the shoulders of giants.
1-0 against St Johnstone this evening. We're 90 minutes away from Ange's first trophy.
That win today's kind of for Bertie Auld a little bit. I think it's a big win, and I think I'm sure it's one that Bertie Auld would be delighted about.
I know it was. Can you imagine? No, it's good to win that as well after what happened sadly last week and all the tributes today and all that. Can you imagine not getting a result after that? It would have been so deflating. But it was just amazing, that 67th minute, the amount of energy around about us. It was such a positive atmosphere. It was nice as well. So I think that was so good about it. It was a sad thing, absolutely devastating thing that happened, and it was a sad atmosphere. And it could have poured into a bit over the top with the grief. But I think a lot of people were celebrating Bertie more than anything, instead of being so downbeat about it. So a lot of celebration. The type of man he was, the type of player he was, and that's what we saw tonight. Just an outpouring of joy for him, and it was just great scenes, and I'm glad we got the win for him.
Okay, so Celtic versus Hibernian, Sunday, December the 19th, for the first domestic trophy of the Scottish season. The game away to St Mirren will now take place on Wednesday, December the 22nd, with a 7:45pm kickoff. So just 3 days after that cup final. That means in total that Celtic will play 12 matches in the next 42 days, including 9 in December alone. It is midweek weekend, all the way until the start of January, and it's a pretty tough fixture list, but it's one to be excited about as well. Right, the feel-good factor around Celtic has continued today with the unveiling of the Celtic Christmas ad for 2021. I quite enjoyed it, actually. It was a kind of mix of happiness, joy, bit of emotion in there as well, a tear maybe in the eye at some stages. Ewan, what was your thoughts?
I mean, as a lover of film, it was brilliant. I think they got the tone exactly right this year. I thought last year was a bit kind of sparse and all over the place, but I loved it. It's just great seeing Jota fulfill his potential as a George Michael impersonator. I think that's everything that the fans have wanted so far, and they've delivered, so fair play to them.
There is so much to chat about ahead of what is another really big game for Celtic. It's a bit of a David catchphrase, but there are no wee games when you're a Celtic fan or a Celtic player. Every game matters, but I think Thursday is certainly one of the most glamorous games we've had already this season. Going away to, you know, a pretty iconic football stadium. I think it's not the biggest football stadium, but we'll come on to that. But certainly one that's known around Europe. Certainly one that I've always wanted to see Celtic play at. And it's for a pretty meaningful game because we've given ourselves a chance going into match day 5 with those 2 wins over Ferencvaros. A real sore one tonight for Celtic to take after what I thought was a really, really strong, encouraging performance from Ange's men. It's ended in defeat in Leverkusen, 3-2, a prediction I had before the game. Sadly, it was in Celtic's favour. A real tough one to take tonight, Stevie, because I thought Celtic were magnificent at spells tonight against a real elite European side, a team who are one of the top teams in you know, maybe the second or third best league in Europe. But you know, it's difficult to sugarcoat the fact that it is still a loss and we are out of the Europa League.
Yeah, it's, you know, I think a lot of us though getting into this game knew it was going to be the hardest game, didn't we? We did say Leverkusen away was going to be very tough to get anything from, and the fact that we even ran them without sounding, you know, glorious failure, you know, I don't like that, a lot of fans don't. We ran them really close, and arguably it was self-sabotage because the lack of squad depth killed us more than, you know, Leverkusen outclassing us, say, or us making just constant mistakes. It was just not having the squad to compete with them. But see, for the most part, I don't think we embarrassed ourselves. I think we can be pretty proud, definitely, of that showing tonight.
Hart said it was really frustrating to fall at the last hurdle. He said there were loads of positives, but that Celtic need to be real. They're not there just to take part. He said there were probably only 10 minutes in the whole match when Celtic were second best, and, quote, "Look what happened to us." Finally, and most tellingly for me, he said, quote, "No more nights like this." Which I took from that he doesn't want any more hard luck stories for Celtic in Europe. I thought it was brilliant to hear him saying that. I'm not surprised at all because Joe Hart is a winner. He's been a winner throughout his career and he's brought that to Celtic already. And I back him and the defence and Ange to get it right over time. We went toe-to-toe with a really, really good European side in their own backyard and we're winning for 82 minutes. I think we just need better options coming off the bench. But I've got no doubts and no worries that Ange will bring that in January. So yeah, it's just difficult right now because we lost last night, but that's just where Celtic are at the moment. And I think generally it's a positive picture. Aberdeen tomorrow at Celtic Park. I'll be honest, everyone, and you know I'm usually the confident type who tips us to win every game. I'm a bit worried about this tomorrow. I've just got a wee something in the back of my mind thinking it might be tougher than people are expecting tomorrow. Celtic 2, Aberdeen 1 this afternoon. Ewan is with me. Feels like quite a big victory, that one. Ewan, almost kind of similar to the one we had at Pittodrie 8 or so weeks ago.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm actually from south of Aberdeen myself, so I've got a bunch of pals, family even, who are going to be disappointed tonight.
Can we all just abuse Ewan now in the comments, please?
You can now, yeah. So that explains the non-accent. But a lot of them are going to be disappointed tonight, and I think that's great. It was a hard-fought win for sure. Aberdeen brought a lot to the table, but extra quality showed out with a brilliant Kel McGregor finish that is going to make at least, if not goal of the month, goal of the season contention, I would say.
They all count, I think is the phrase you say. We're in December now, everyone. You may have noticed that. The 1st of December, 9 games for Celtic this month, 7 of them in the league. Yeah, Scott, I'll come to you again. Thoughts on December as a player? Is it overhyped by the likes of us, or was it genuinely one of the hardest parts of the season?
Always the hardest.
The hardest.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think the hardest is running when it's tight.
Right.
I think because I think near the end of the season you get quite a few games bunched up as well when the top 6 comes as well, and if it's still in the balance. But you know, this is a real key point as well. Building up to now that we have the winter break, which obviously didn't have when I was playing, but you know, you want to leave that in a good footing coming off that. Albeit there's been a couple of occasions where that's not been the case, and Celtic have come out firing all cylinders after the winter break. Didn't happen last year, but they'll be hoping that obviously they've got one cup in the trophy cabinet by that point. And, we just never know where this table lies come the end of December as well. Tomorrow night's going to be a very interesting night.
Hello and welcome to a little bit of a later 67 Hail Hail tonight. We're live on the channel talking about a very thrilling 1-0 win over Hearts in the Scottish Premiership that moves us to within 4 points of Rangers. There's so much to talk about and we're going to get right into it. Now, the reason I'm having a wee chat first with you today is because Hamish has been running around all over Celtic Park tonight, watching the game, speaking to Ange Postecoglou. Hamish, you were in the post-match press conference. What's the latest on the likes of injuries to, Stephen Welsh, Anthony Ralston, others in the team, Jota, of course? What's the latest?
Hi, John. First of all, I need to say the background is very poor, mate. It doesn't quite live up to mine there, but we move on. It was quite a good experience, actually, getting to chat to Ange and find out what he thought of the game. PLC's Peter Martin had a bit to say to Ange. There was actually a wee bit of a kind of exchange between the two when Peter Martin was bringing up the opportunities that Hearts had in the second half, and Ange didn't take too kindly to that. He kind of asked Peter Martin, what are you talking about? What chances in particular? And then he mentioned the fact that we had missed several chances as well. I think the James Forrest one late on was the one that Ange really mentioned, which I think is a fair point. I think in general, the media will probably spin it out as another really narrow, plucky win. Maybe not plucky, but a narrow, ugly win for Celtic tonight, when I think in reality, as much as Hearts did miss two really good opportunities, we also missed, 2 or 3 in the second half, with that Forest one being the main one.
So it's been interesting since full time. You might not be aware of some of the comments that have been flying about. Robbie Nielsen is fuming, absolutely fuming, in a quite hilarious way, saying that he would go to jail if he was allowed to say the things he wanted to say.
This is taken from the Sky Sports feed, and as you can see, it is very marginal. Now, if VAR was in place, that's the kind of decision that it would spend 5 minutes looking over. Was he onside? Was he offside?
We're here to discuss Celtic 3, Dundee United 0. Could have been 10, Stevie. A fantastic performance. How are you feeling after that one?
Great, look at me. They look happy. They look settled, John. Amazing. Just, that was the most complete performance I've seen from the manager on the team so far. As I said, it was more complete than the 6-0 games we saw at the start of the season, the 2-0 game over AZ Alkmaar. A total joy to watch, and that's what just watching Celtic's all about. A huge smile on my face, and as you've seen, John, this is the most content I think you've ever seen me in life, so it says it all.
We can't not talk about Tom Rogic, who was just unbelievable. Interesting because, obviously everyone will talk about his goal, which was majestic. There's words almost can't describe how good it was. But I thought there was a real tenacity to his play today. He wasn't just impacting the game in an attacking sense. He was doing pressing, he was tackling, he was sparking counter-attacks. It was kind of an all-round performance for him today, and it was one of his best in a Celtic shirt this season, which says a lot because of how good he's been.
Yeah, John, before we get into this one, I know that the way I am with Michael Johnson, you have been a big Tom Rogic fan for ages. We've known each other for 5-6 years now, and we've always had real divided opinions on it. I've always been really frustrated about Tom Rogic not lasting games, and when it comes to big games in Europe, frustrating me. You've always stood by him though, and you've always said he's alright. He's probably the classiest player we've got at the club, and I thought today that was just mesmerising from him today. The goal was something else, but as you say, the bit I noticed was that he was getting real physical with Fuchs today. Now, Fuchs was a standout player at Celtic Park against us for Dundee United. He put in a brilliant performance that day in September. But today, I didn't notice Fuchs at all. He was chasing shadows.
Yeah, we should probably have known tonight was going to be something a bit like that. It always seems to be these games that don't have a lot riding on them tend to be these dramatic end-to-end affairs. John, remind me of the score, because I've genuinely forgotten.
3-2 Celtic, Hamish. That was wild. That's the word I'm using to describe tonight. It was a wild win in a very interesting, exciting game with about as much as you can talk about for a game that doesn't have much riding on it. Ange made a gamble it worked out in terms of the result. But again, we've kind of depleted some of our playing resources, and we're waiting nervously on the likes of Kyogo, who we hope came off for a precaution. But Ayeti looks to have done his hamstring.
Yeah.
You know, there was a couple of head knocks.
McCarthy
few
was
other issues.
hobbling for a bit.
Yeah, McCarthy hobbled and had to come off. So there was a few concerns coming of it.
Just to finish, a weird night tonight in terms of atmosphere at Celtic Park. For anyone who doesn't know, basically the standing section and the boys at the other end of the stadium as well, not singing at all tonight. A protest in terms of, or a protest against the potential appointment of Bernard Higgins. I just think Celtic need to address this issue before Sunday, because I thought tonight was, as much as tonight's game didn't really matter a lot, I thought it really kind of took the game down a level or two, and I think it probably made it difficult for the players tonight. And then by saying that, I'm not having a go at the fans at all, because I actually agree totally that they need to do this to be heard. I think this is on Celtic's door, and I think Celtic need to, get chatting to the supporters groups and, the Celtic Trust and Celtic Shared and all of these guys, the Green Brigade, before Sunday. Huge game we're going to be going into, probably without a striker, and we need to get Celtic Park rocking on Sunday, because it's too important. There's too much happening at the moment to let, this daft nonsense that Celtic have created continue.
We are chatting after another big 3 points for Celtic, 1-0 against Motherwell. Who are these two unfamiliar faces? You may know their voices. Just say a wee word each, guys, and see if folk can work out where they know their voices from.
Paddy, how do they know us? Or how do they not know us?
Do you know, I've no idea, mate, but we'll find out.
You are the Celtic Exchange for me, and I'd say this to every Celtic podcast, the greatest Celtic podcast out there, lads.
Thanks very much, Sir Hamish.
It's good to have you with us for this match reaction. Thoughts on the game overall? A big 3 points today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every game going into obviously this run up to the winter break is crucial for us. And obviously we're seeing at the moment, just with the amount of injuries that we're picking up, each game in the league is getting extremely harder.
Yeah, I'm just glad we're here talking about 3 points, because it was nervy. The guy next to me at the game 5 minutes in says, I'll take 1-0 a day. And I says, I agree with you, but as you get into 80, 85, 87 minutes, it's a nervy time. But listen, 3 points is the be all and end all just now.
What is it like week to week, Scott? Like, in terms of, Rangers played ahead of us yesterday. Do the players take much notice? They always say in the media that they don't take any notice at all. But what is the reality of that? Is there chat in the dressing room? What goes on?
Yeah, of course there is. You are watching. If you're the second team, you're usually, a lot of the time, if you were the second team, you're usually away from home. Didn't really work that way this week because of Europe and everything. But you were normally the away team, so you would travel on a Saturday and get in the hotel, and then you just hear someone yell down the hallway. You open the door. That's them just scored.
Hamish, have you got a bit of breaking news there? Because I do. If you don't,
Bodo Glimt,
yeah, probably the best team in that side of the draw. I'm a little bit worried about that. They seem to be a team who are very efficient in what they do. They've got a very structured game plan. But I think I would have probably preferred another team at that draw.
Looking forward to tomorrow night's game away to Ross County. Obviously, another huge match for Celtic. Just get the 3 points and keep moving on. Following Celtic, it's never dull, is it? An emotional rollercoaster of an evening. We've come away with the 3 points against Ross County. I don't quite know how we've managed it. It'll probably take me a wee while to work out how we managed it. Everything seemed to be conspiring against us in that second half. Daft refereeing decisions, Celtic players getting sent off, a Celtic player getting sent off, missed opportunities, just not playing that well. Lack of options due to injuries and rotating the team. And yet, Stevie, we found a way to win.
We did. Absolutely amazing. I was so buzzing. I did not see that coming at all, Hamish. Honestly, credit to the manager, credit the team for managing us to get out that. Can't even say my words properly here. I've not celebrated a goal like that in such a long time. Huge goal. Psychologically, that is absolutely massive for us, and the team just deserve credit. We did say, Hamish, it didn't matter how they got the win. They just had to get the 3 points, and they've managed it. It was a bare minimum, and thank God, because I just did not look lightly tonight for a long portions of that game.
you have these games where you do these reactions and you say, oh, I always felt confident we'd get that last chance. I thought at 92, 93 minutes, I think CCV took one of the county players down and gave away a daft free kick, and I just thought that's kind of it. We're actually more likely to lose this game by doing something daft, because we were just committing players forward, and we get that winning goal, and it's I don't even know who crosses it in. I don't
Rogic,
even know.
Was it not? I think it was Rogic.
Might have been Rogic. It could have been.
But I've not seen the replay of it, to be honest. So when the goal went in, I just went mental. And the next time I've turned round and it's full time.
And we've got all the chat here from Hampden with a very special guest. His name is Daniel Ritana Pinta, and he's come all the way from Australia. Daniel, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I've come all the way from down under. The pronunciation on the surname was brilliant. It only probably
Been practicing that all day.
It only probably would have been better if you did your fake Australian accent that is so famous on your channel.
Just seeing Ange with that trophy on Sunday night would be a pretty special feeling. I mean, first trophies won by Celtic managers, thinking back over the years. Neil Lennon's first one was here, Motherwell Scottish Cup final, a week after he'd had all that hassle, that well-documented season, and that was really special. Ronnie Dyla's first one here. Brendan Rodgers, I think first one was here against Aberdeen in the same competition. Amazing moments, and I think if Ange's Celtic can beat Hibs tomorrow, by whatever means, extra time, penalties, if he's got that trophy in his hands, with the Celtic support, I think it'll be the most defining image of this season so far.
Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel on a wonderful evening to be a Celtic fan. We've won the Premier Sports Cup final by 2-1 against Hibernian, and Stevie, it was a pretty exciting afternoon, let's just say.
Yeah, second half was so end to end. It was a great game of football. It was a classic cup final, if you will, wasn't it? But just so happy Celtic are the winners. I'm so happy for the team, so happy for the manager, and happy for you as well. You seem to be buzzing in the way down the road. It was like a Larsson-esque sort of finish. It was just so composed and under that amount of pressure. Not an easy finish whatsoever, and he made it just look so simple. And again, here's the thing, I know Kyogo was starting and he played and he was great today, but I really don't think he was 100% fit either. And that's what made it even more impressive for me.
Is this the moment, everyone, with your blessing, when we just go all in on Kyogo? The guy's just ridiculous. This is a guy who had just come back into the team today, and as you put it earlier, he dragged Celtic to that trophy, and he'll take so much pleasure in doing that. When you see some of the criticism, the completely unfounded and unfair criticism he's been getting from so many people in Scottish football, and the Hibs fans were at it again today, but it just doesn't faze him at all, and he's just such an intelligent player. He offers us so much defensively. There was one today when he went and raced and won the ball back, and just offers us that calm finish when he's in on goal. I mean, those two finishes today, in probably one of the biggest games of his career. I mean, he'll have played in huge games, previously in Asia, and he's played for Japan, but that would be one of the biggest games. He's moved across the world to try it in Europe, and this was his first big final with people watching, all around wherever, and he stood up and was counted and scored two brilliant goals.
Also as well, Hamish, the amount of football he's already played this year too, and he just doesn't look knackered or burned out from it. Yeah. And I know that Ange has already addressed on a press conference that he's got a duty of care and he will look after him, but he's got the sports scientists already saying, Kyogo's nowhere near 100% fit, but Kyogo himself is saying, no, I feel ready, I'm good to play. And I mean, at that point, who's Ange going to be trusting after a display like that? It's amazing, and I think we already were all in with Kyogo, weren't we? And after the hat-tricks against Dundee and the performance against AZ Alkmaar, but he's just an infectious personality, he's brilliant to watch, and he's just an exciting player, and that's what it's, every time, for as long as I've been following Celtic, always had a really exciting forward in their own different way, but Kyogo is just amazing to watch.
I didn't really expect to be that emotional, and I'm not saying that I was blubbering like a mess or anything like that at full time, but I genuinely did kind of have something happening when Ange was coming over right after full time and he's beating the chest and all of that stuff. Now I don't know exactly what caused it, I think part of it, certainly a big part, is just how much I really, love Ange, and I love the fact he's come across the globe to manage Celtic and the stuff he's had to put up with. And people, let's not forget, people saying Ange would be sacked by now and away back on a plane to Japan or Australia. Yeah, how's that going? I mean, have a look at that photo of him lifting a trophy, and that's how it's going. Partly due to that, also just I think, how miserable the last 18 months have been to be a Celtic fan. Let's not forget how horrible it's been. Yes, we won every trophy for 4 years before that, and people say, oh God, can you not put up with bad times? But the last 18 months has been hellish in general, apart from maybe the last 6 months. But last season was hellish to be a Celtic fan. Hellish because we couldn't get to games, hellish because Celtic were abysmal and failed in every test they were set. And today Celtic passed a huge test, and I think all of that, coupled with the stuff that's going on in the world at the moment, and not knowing whether this is, maybe the last game we'll have fans at for a while, or one of the last games, I think it all just meant so much today that Celtic won. We'll see what happens in the next few months. We might not win the league this year. It's going to be difficult, I think. But at the very least, we've won something today. And at the very least, there is something, concrete and substantial for those players to build from today. I just think it's a mammoth achievement. People will look at the fact that we didn't beat Rangers to win the cup, and they'll say, "Oh, you were expected to do it." But beat the team who beat Rangers in the final today, beat Hearts, the third best team in the country, beat the holders of the 2 cups, St Johnstone in the semi, beat even Wraith Rovers who beat Aberdeen. Celtic have beaten most of the big teams in this country win this competition today, and we've done it while injuries have been happening, while people have been calling our manager a dud, while we've been having to win every single game domestically in the league and Europe as well. And we went behind today and we won, and I'm just so buzzing. I maybe don't look at, because we've walked an hour and a half back to Hampden, so we maybe look quite lethargic or whatever, but when I go to sleep and wake up in the morning, God, I'm going to be so happy.